Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets from now until Super Bowl 57 on February 12th, 2023 from your favorite WagerTalk handicapper for only $1,199 versus a regular price of $1,999 for one total savings of $800. This limited time super discount comes out to less than $100 per month and only $3.28 per day. As an added bonus, your all access starts immediately, so the sooner you buy before Super Bowl 56, the more additional days you will get for free. Just go to WagerTalk.com, choose your favorite handicapper to lock in, and don't forget there is no limit to the amount of handicappers you can redeem our Super Bowl to Super Bowl offer on.
Welcome into the NFL opening line report week of the Super Bowl. I am Drew Martin, joined by Teddy Covers. We're taking a look at Super Bowl props as well as side and total on this show. Come and join us on the WagerTalk YouTube channel in the chat box. Teddy, happy Monday morning to you. Super Bowl is here, buddy.
Yeah, this is it. This is the week. This is Christmas week for sports bettors. So, and at the very top, we have to be very clear. All right. We're going to talk about a bunch of props. We're going to talk about side. We're going to talk about total. But the broader concept of this is one game. Okay. It's one game. It's not 50 games. It's not a whole season. It's one game. So while Super Bowl is America's sports betting holiday, okay, you're allowed to bet a little bit more than you normally would. You're allowed to make a couple more prop wagers. But I have a strong opinion on this game. I got a 5% big ticket up on this game. I don't have many of them on the Super Bowl. I can think of one other that I've had all these years, maybe two others, literally. So from a side standpoint, I really like this game more than your average Super Bowl. But it's a standard big ticket size wager for me. It's not, I'm going to put half my bankroll on the side that I like or the total that I like or the side and the total and 500 props. One game. So if you had a good NFL season, don't give it all back. If you had a bad NFL season, don't try to get it all back. One game. That's the overriding theme.
Sure. You don't want to bet too much on one game, but hey, let's be honest. It is the Super Bowl. If you're watching at a party, it's nice to have a little action on the game, Teddy. And every now and again, you win those type of bets. So it could be a good Sunday out there. Hopefully, we'll get you on the right side of some of these prop bets. Also talk about the movement in the game as well. Teddy Covers on Twitter at Teddy_Covers. I'm on Twitter at Drew Martin Bets. Guys, welcome in on the chat box. We got Mike Campbell, Paul Blakeney joining us from the other side of the pond in England. So kind of worldwide here, Teddy, as we open it up, talking some Super Bowl props here, guys. Teddy, there's a lot of ways to go at this. Of course, there's the offshore market, the legal market. FanDuel, DraftKings are kind of throwing different edges at the market because prop bets have been out a while. I know Thursday night was the opener in Vegas at the Westgate. So we can kind of go at different angles at these prop bets. And it's actually an advantage for the sports bettors, Teddy, because we get to shop around for different lines. And guys, in the prop market, they can really shift, from minus 120 at one book to maybe, minus 105 at the other. So make sure to kind of have more than one sports book. But Teddy, before we start getting into the prop bets that we each like here for the Super Bowl, I know Thursday night you were interested in going to the Westgate. How was that for the prop bet kind of opener there?
It's always fun at the Westgate on the Thursday night. It is a legitimate wise guy party. Where you're going to see a lot of guys wearing track pants and sweatsuits with big stacks of hundreds. Big stacks of hundreds. You walk around with 10 dimes in your pocket, you feel like you're someone. These guys are walking around with like 100 dimes in their pocket. I don't even know how much money. We're talking about as big a wad with rubber bands as you'll ever see. Wow. Just $100 bills stacked up against one another. It wasn't as busy as years past. There are years that the Westgate opens, and again, they're taking 2 dimes right from right off the bat on every prop that they put out.
Yeah.
So it's not they're putting up little numbers and trying to adjust them. They know that the opening night they're going to take 6 figures, well into 6 figures on these wagers. So they're very comfortable with their numbers when they put them out. In theory, what I saw down there on Thursday night again, and then so there are years you're allowed to make 2 bets and then you have to go back to the back of the line. And there are years where the line's 100 deep. This year was maybe 20, 25 deep. And, the guys would go up and put 2 bets in and go to the back of the line and wait and put 2 more in and go over to the back of the line. It's not like guys are only putting in 2 bets. They're putting in plenty of bets. But in terms of what was getting hit on Thursday night, to me, that was what was interesting. Perhaps the most interesting factor of everything that happened on Thursday was, I'm going to call it the lack of opinions. The stuff that got popped on Thursday night, 90% of it was arbitrage. All right. And with Jersey opening numbers early and Colorado opening up numbers early and Louisiana opening up numbers early, it's not like Vegas and the Westgate were the first numbers to pop. So what the bettors were doing on Thursday night was simply, someone's got Cam Akers over 65.5. There's a 72.5 over there. Boom. Let's bet the over 65.5 here and the under 72.5 there. Those type of, where the yardage numbers were different, where the juice was different. Bettors on Thursday, by and large, it wasn't about opinions. It was about taking advantage of the variance in the betting marketplace. And you look right now at the Super Bowl, looking at my WagerTalk live odds screen right now. Let me just click over. I had the basketball numbers up. The football numbers.
The best
up, right?
free live odds in the business. WagerTalk live odds screen.
And for a free live odds screen, dude, you're not going to find a better one. Flat out. It's something that's I leave it up all day.
Me too.
But the line painted, let's call it 4, 4.5, 48.5. All right, there are a couple of 4. There's some 4s out there. There's some 4.5s for LA. The total 48.5 just about everywhere right now. Not much variance there. Okay. When you talk about the prop market, and again, when you look at the WagerTalk live odds screen, you're seeing all the books right here on one screen. Real easy to see what the market's doing. When you're talking about the prop market, the Super Bowl prop markets, heck, I'm looking for a line, trying to find a line from one book to the next book to the next book. It's really hard to find on your apps,
Yes.
That's not on any screen. So what happens is the line variance from book to book is very real, and it lasts all week. And every bet you make, whatever bets you make, every account you have, you're checking it right before you put your bet in, because there's so much variance between one book and the next, and that all evens out by the end of the week. You see it, as the Westgate opens, the markets already start shifting towards one another. And, by this coming weekend, the numbers aren't going to be any different anywhere, by and large. Although, again, in the hours before kickoff, you see variances increase dramatically from one book to the next, because it depends on what action they're taking on Super Bowl Sunday. And the action on Super Bowl Sunday is insane, as any sportsbook director will tell you. So the numbers don't always move in correlation with one another from book to book on the day of the game, even the 24 hours before the game. But over the course of the next week, throughout the week this week, we're going to see these numbers kind of come together before they blow up one more time from book to book by kickoff on Sunday.
He's Teddy Covers, WagerTalkSportsMemo.com. Long-term winner against the spread in the NFL, 56%, going back multiple years there, guys, in the NFL. And let's get into these props, Teddy. Looking at some of the game props, I'm going to go off of FanDuel Sportsbook, also an offshore shop here, and just kind of hit the big ones. And then we can get into some of the ones we really like. We got Super Bowl MVP here. Of course, this is a big one. A lot of eyeballs on this one, Teddy. We get Matthew Stafford, plus 120, Joe Burrow, plus 230, Cooper Kupp, plus 550, Aaron Donald on the defensive side of things, plus 1,600. What about Jamar Chase here, Teddy? I think we get the best player on the field, at least the best athlete here, at plus 2,500. Of course, risk 100 to win 2,500. I kind of like that one. I mean, not that he's the leader in the clubhouse, anything like that, but that's a huge plus price there. Also, Odell Beckham Jr. plus 2,500 as well. You like any of these shots at the MVP, or maybe just go with one of the quarterbacks here of the team you think is going to win the game?
So when you talk about bets that are beatable versus bets that aren't, all right, there's a couple of bets in the Super Bowl that I don't think you can beat. The biggest one for me is a first touchdown, right? You can handicap the MVP award, all right? You can do it, and by and large, if you like the Bengals, it's either going to be Mixon, Chase, or Burrow, right? One would think. If you like the Rams, there may be a couple of more choices, but it's likely to be Stafford or Cup or OBJ or Akers, one would think. So you can, in theory, handicap the MVP award so that it relates in some way with your handicap of the game. And I'm not going to say you can get a positive expectation bet out of it. You can't find any positive expectation bets out of these type of wagers. I'll talk about why in a minute. But maybe you can find one where you're not completely burning your money.
Right.
When it comes to who's going to score the first touchdown, that is as random as it gets. And there's no way to handicap it. And people go crazy for that bet. And with both of these bets, all right, the wise guys props, how the pro bettors attack the prop market is real simple. They're like yeses and nos. Two options, over or under. Once you start getting into these props where there are 20 guys listed and 30 guys listed and 10 guys, it doesn't matter how many guys are listed. Once you start getting above the yes, no, over, under, two choices, the house takeout increases substantially. So when you're talking about who's going to win the Super Bowl MVP or who's going to score the first touchdown, the books hold 50%, 40%, 30%. Significant hold margin on those, far more than you have on a yes, no, over, under type of prop where there's only two possibilities. So in general, I'm avoiding the who's going to win MVP. I'm avoiding the who's going to score the first touchdown, knowing to handicap it, and the prices aren't right. The best bets, the sharp money, is going to go on the props that are actually beatable.
Okay, I love it, Teddy. Great explanation there. The analysis spot on. And mainly, guys, to what Teddy's talking about, the vig is more. It's costing you more money to make the bet if there's not just two selections. So something to keep in mind. That's not only for the Super Bowl, but it kind of is highlighted here at the Super Bowl props market. So Teddy, let's get into some of the yes, no, over under props here. Try to get some winners out there to the audience. What about at FanDuel Sportsbook, defensive special teams touchdown? Yes, plus 260, no, minus 370. One that I was looking at, team to record most sacks, Rams, minus 230. I like that, even though we're laying a big price there. Or Bengals, plus 175. Maybe a big plus price there with the Bengals defensive line, given after Stafford. You like in either one of those two props, Teddy?
So defensive or special teams touchdowns. All right. What we've seen, the normal price is no, the historical price. And this is coming from, by the way, if you haven't downloaded it, you need to download it. Ralph's Super Bowl prop results. If you go to a Ralph Michaels page at WagerTalk.com, it's a free download, and it'll give you the prop results for the last 12 years with an average price and give you an idea, do these props hit or not? Defensive or specials teams touchdowns. Yes has cashed in 6 of the last 8 Super Bowls. And every single time the yes has cashed, it's been a plus price cash. Now, in this game, you can make an argument, maybe a stronger argument for the no than your average Super Bowl. And this is not a yes prop that I'm betting this year. Here's your concept. All right. You have 2 kickers that are going to kick a whole lot of touchbacks. All right. We're lined at about 11 kickoffs for the Super Bowl in total. We're lined at about 5.5 returns on those kickoffs. And all the sharp money is coming in on the under for kick returns in the ball game because they're expecting both McPherson and Gay to kick a whole lot of touchbacks. So what does that mean? That means less chance of a kick return touchdown in this Super Bowl. So You can still get the punt return touchdown. Obviously, you can still get a defensive score. But it's not like Cincy has the type of defense that's putting up points in bunches every week. And Joe Burrow, as a QB, has been able to avoid the disastrous mistakes that so many QBs have, even against good defenses. So I think there's a lower than average chance that the defense that scores in LA has a lower than average chance of getting a score in this game. And you have a lower than average chance of getting a kick return touchdown in this game. Put those two factors together, and this is not a year where I'll be betting the yes on the defensive special teams TD, even though it has cashed at a plus price 6 times out of the last 8 Super Bowls.
Teddy covers knowing his stuff there. You know, the kicking props are something I think we can get an advantage on, Teddy. Interested in your opinion there. We also got a good segue here to one of our friend Gabe Morency's favorite props here. Distance of longest successful field goal. We're seeing 47.5. Pretty much even odds on both sides, minus 112. Interesting to note they're taking that extra 2 cents to bet that prop. But of course, controlled climate in SoFi Stadium. You just named both of the kickers there. I mean, Evan McPherson, the rookie from Florida, this guy's been awesome. But I also want to throw out there Pat McAfee. He's got a famous show. Was a kicker in the NFL, and he talks about kicking in the Super Bowl. And Teddy, just like the story of him kicking off and just wanting to kick the ball and not miss it because he was so nervous. So what about some of those nerves coming into the kickers? Is that factoring into your handicap? And also, I kind of like this over of 47.5, a tight Super Bowl matchup here. Points are going to be at a premium, and both of these kickers very good. I do like that over a 47.5 longest successful field goal, Teddy. Any opinion on that one?
I like over 46.5 already in my pocket.
Nice.
But again, it speaks to the fact that these lines are going to move. It speaks to shopping from book to book. If the longest field goal ends up being 47 yards, I'm going to cash, and anyone that bets it now isn't. So be aware of that. You talked about the minus 112 both ways. Again, some books are going to do that. They're going to gouge you a little bit in the Super Bowl. Other books won't. That's one advantage to being here in Vegas, where if you go to shopping around, you're going to find minus 110s. The books are very happy to put an extra penny or two of juice in it. Boy, it adds up. For them, it adds up significantly. Here in Vegas, that doesn't usually happen. Certainly not at the books that cater to the wise guys. You won't see that at the Circa. You won't see that at the Westgate. You won't see that at the South Point. That's the 3, big wise guy books in town in that regard. And now I've lost track of even what the question was, Drew. Did I answer it?
Yeah, no, you answered it. You like the over. You bet it personally, 46.5. Also, good,
I'm talking about kickers. Yeah, kicker props. There's a lot of attention being paid to the kicker props this year, for whatever reason. You talked about the Pat McAfee article and what he's been talking about with the opening kickoff to not be a touchback, and that has cashed. The opening kickoff has not been a touchback in 26 of the last 28 Super Bowls. And on Thursday night at the Westgate, they were betting the opening kick to be a touchback because they like these two kickers. So, for what it's worth, it's crazy how much this is. I went back. The McAfee, he talked about it on his radio show, and then he wrote an article about it. And I went and read the article, and I double checked it. I didn't go through everyone, but I went through enough of them that I'm like, this isn't BS. Because sometimes, if I worry about other people's data, I know that I check things with sources that I trust, and I like to double check other people's data because sometimes it's dicey. But the other thing that he was talking about with McAfee was that opening kickoff, all right, where A, your adrenaline is sky high, and B, the ball, it's like a different ball that hasn't been worked through yet that they're using for the Super Bowl. So it kicks slightly differently. And that is a piece of the puzzle. So the wise guys love these two kickers. All right. They're betting all kinds of props with these two kickers in favor of the kickers. But there's something to be said for that opening kickoff, that first kickoff from either kicker, not necessarily being the touchback. And like I said, they were betting the over the touchbacks, or the under on the number of kick returns, because they expected a lot of touchbacks in the ballgame. And of course, there's been lots of wise guy money on the under for the game, which correlates to under on number of kickoffs, which correlates to under on number of touchbacks. there's a lot of these hidden correlations that when you follow the you follow the tea leaves on one bet, it's going to lead to others. And this is a scenario in which the wise guys aren't necessarily factoring in the recent history, and it's not even recent anymore, the history of Super Bowl opening kickoffs not being touchbacks because of adrenaline on both sides. They were betting yes on the opening kickoff to be a touchback on Thursday night.
Yeah, sure. I just find it fascinating, Teddy, the handicap behind it, because both kickers very talented, like you touched on, but also young. The McPherson kid was kicking for the University of Florida just last year, so he's a young guy, and it's not like Florida was playing in national championships. So this is by far the biggest game he's kicked in, Teddy. So maybe nerves get to him.
Maybe they do, but I'll say this: when you talk about kickers as weapons, as offensive weapons, there's one that stands out to me in the league, and he's made a difference for Baltimore repeatedly in playoff type games to get to the playoffs, in games in the playoffs. Yeah. That's Justin Tucker. Okay, Justin Tucker is a weapon. The Ravens can drive to the 38-yard line and kick the game-winning field goal, and other teams don't have that. And he's money. And Evan McPherson he's like the new Justin Tucker. He's been absolutely money in all kinds of different clutch spots with really tough kicks for Cincy. We'll see if the pressure gets to him. But when I have McPherson in my mind right now, there's only one. Tucker is the only kicker that's like that. That I'm like, you better account for Tucker in your handicap. And McPherson has certainly moved into that piece of the equation. Now, Matt Gay, a guy who was phenomenal at Utah and has been fine in LA over the years, he's missed a couple. He's missed a couple short, which is something of a concern. But you also want to ask yourself, whenever you talk about these kicker props or these field goal props, are the coaches going to be going for it on fourth down? Or are they going to be taking the points on fourth down? And in the game against Kansas City, Zach Taylor was going to go for it on fourth down. This time around, I wouldn't be surprised if both coaches are comfortable taking the 3 and not going for it every fourth down that they chance. Now, Zach Taylor in particular tends to be aggressive on fourth downs, and that can be really bad for kicker props. But in a game of this magnitude, I think Taylor might check himself before he wrecks himself. And that would behoove over bettors for McPherson for total field goals, McPherson's longest field goal, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. I
How'd
totally
you like that
agree.
reference, man? Check yourself before you wreck yourself. I enjoyed that. No one else got it.
No, I get it, Teddy. That was enjoyable. The analysis was enjoyable.
Old school,
and I'm in
baby.
agreement.
Old school.
So Teddy, let's open it up a little bit. And guys, thanks for joining us live here on the chat box. WagerTalk YouTube channel. Feel free to chime in with what you're looking to bet in the Super Bowl. Also, if you're watching on replay, feel free to reply below. Let us know what your favorite Super Bowl prop bet is, what you're betting in the Super Bowl. Also, any questions, we can answer it on next week's show. Kind of look into the futures here of next season in the NFL. We can even talk a little draft if you want. Yeah, go ahead, Teddy.
Oh, I say next week we've got Super Bowl odds to talk about next week. Super Bowl 2023, and it's the numbers are already up. I'm excited. I love the show after the Super Bowl because we get to talk about all the crazy things that happened the previous day, and then we're here we go. We got numbers. Let's talk about them. So, and again, the NFL opening line report does not end with the end of football season. They're virgin numbers all summer long. We'll have season win numbers that we're talking about. We'll have odds to win division numbers that we're talking about. We'll have college football numbers to talk about. So, and obviously, as we work through baseball and hockey and basketball, we'll have future book numbers in those sports to talk about as well. So, opening line report going year round. Otherwise, in July we're going to take off. But 11 months a year, the show will continue as long as Drew will do it with me.
Oh, I'm doing it with you, Teddy. And it's NFL focused, guys, in the offseason, but we will open it up to like Major League Baseball season win totals, futures, like Teddy just talked about, 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific time right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Teddy on Twitter at Teddy_covers. I'm on Twitter at Drew Martin Bets. Huge shout out to Joe Ranieri behind the scenes. Also Dan Alexander as well, holding it down in the producer's role. Teddy, open it up here a little bit. I touched on this last week, the prop that I like. And I bet at the last couple Super Bowls with success. So I feel like I'm kind of playing with free money here. Punt before score. That's whoever gets the ball first, guys. With the Super Bowl, kind of the structure like we talked about last week, just being changed. The national anthem, multiple songs being sung before, the timing of the players on the field. I think it affects the offensive rhythm more so than the defensive rhythm. And sure enough, I bet team to punt before score. Of course, that meaning they're going to punt before they kick a field goal or score a touchdown, and it's minus 120 at 2 sports books right now. So that's the bet that I like the most, Teddy, the bet that I bet personally here, punt before score. If you have any opinion on that one and maybe another prop, just kind of open it up to you, one that catches your eye.
I agree wholeheartedly with that concept of punt before score. Fairly strongly, for what it's worth. And again, what does that mean? What does that correlate with? What we want to do in our thought process, in our handicapping process, what other positive expectation bets can I make that correlate with slow starting on offense, punt before a score? And the one that I always love is no score, whether it's first 5.5 minutes, first 6 minutes, first 6.5, first 7, first 7.5. It varies from book to book. Many books offer multiple options. You can get no score first 5.5 and no score first 6.5 and no score first 7.5. And as you add more time, you get a better return, obviously. You get a much nicer return on the no score from 7.5 minutes and no score in 5.5 minutes. And certainly in a game where we've seen nothing but under money come in early, in a game where at least one of the two squads in Cincinnati hasn't been in anything, they haven't been playing in playoff games. It's not a battle tested seasoned team. The Rams have been here before a couple years ago with many of the players, but since he hasn't, you expect those jitters to be there. And frankly, you expect a fairly conservative start to the game where both coaches feeling each other out. So having either punt before score, love that. Both teams to punt before they score, no argument here. And that certainly correlates with a no score first 5.5, 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, depending on what you want to, what you can find. And again, the price on that are pretty good the longer you go. So I like to make a variety of those bets, and if I return the opening kick for the touchdown, then I get screwed. But if they don't and they're driving the ball, it tends to work out okay. Now, just from a 6-minute standpoint, all right, the last 3 years, there's been no score the first 6 minutes. First score came at 7:31 last year, 11 minutes and 16 seconds, Super Bowl 40. Oh, sorry, I'm looking the wrong way. I was looking at the wrong end of the chart. Over the last 3 years, it's still all nose. Last 5 years, it's all nose. In the first 6 minutes of the ball game. So that's been a positive expectation wager in recent seasons. I wouldn't talk anyone out of that bet.
Teddy, I don't feel we can talk about Super Bowl props here without bringing up the exotic market, of course, not being attributed to a box score, guys. So this is mostly in the offshore market, but hey, it's out there. We can bet it. Talking about any scoring drive shorter than the anthem length is one out here. Color of Mickey Guyton's outfit during the anthem. Of course, Mickey Guyton singing the national anthem here, Teddy, the country singer. For her to forget a word, to omit a word during the national anthem, no, minus 3,000. I mean, that's probably likely going to hit. She's not going to forget a word, but laying that big of a price is kind of tough to say there. Teddy, does she show cleavage during the national anthem? These type of bets. Do you get involved in them? I mean, they can be fun to bet, man. How long is the national anthem? And of course, a lot of times you'll get a security guard kind of filming it there. So if you can be quick on the trigger, you can get ahead of some of these and really have a sharp play on some of this, Teddy. Does any of this kind of betting interest you?
So I have in years past made wagers on the length of the national anthem. And you talked about how sometimes you get good info on that. But of course, when you're dealing with a non-regulated market, there's no recourse. How they grade it is how they grade it. And that is certainly something of a concern for many bettors. It's 2022. All right. Things are legalized and regulated here in the States. You don't have to be dealing with an unregulated market right now, unless you're dying for these type of props that the books can grade however they feel like grading. In many instances, and I remember wasn't there a huge controversy about whether the Super Bowl was 1 minute and 57 seconds or 1 minute and 58 seconds, and the line was 157 and a half. I remember that being one year, and was it? I'm sitting there with your watch. Was it 157 or 158? You don't know. The books will grade it however they feel like grading it. Whichever way is going to make them more money. So that does concern you with the unregulated market for sure. But with bets like the national anthem and the like, again, sometimes you can get some info that'll help you. But what color is the Gatorade going to be? How many times is the TV cameras going to show the coach's wife? Those type of stuff that you see in some of the unregulated markets. It's fun to consider, but it's nothing going to put any real money down. At least I hope.
Yeah, I mean, there's interesting ones out there. Number of planes during the flyover set at 5. I mean, talk about beatable markets, though, Teddy. Like, if you can get inside information on how many planes are going to be flying over the stadium, I mean, that is, if you can get that information, it can be a beatable wager. Also, like first,
what's the limit on that bet? You're gonna get you're gonna get $100 down, $300 down on that bet.
Yeah.
I mean, are they taking a nickel on it? For the amount of work you got to do. All right, yeah, I'm gonna call. Yeah, they're very limited marketplace. With those type of wagers. Now the fun ones for me are the cross sports props. It's the Ovechkin shots on goal and the Caps versus whoever versus the total number of first half kickoffs. Or those type of props to me are really interesting. And I like to sink my teeth into them a fair bit because if you have an opinion on one side of it, one way or the other, again, it can lead you to multiple wagers. Or even if you don't have an opinion on what the cross sport props are related, the Super Bowl props are exactly where they're supposed to be. So if you have an opinion on the other sports part of the equation, you're not betting into two bad lines. You know what I mean? It's not a situation where you're betting into this a marketplace that can't be beat. You're just dealing with basic market numbers on the other side of the prop that you like, whether it's Ovechkin shots on goal or number of putts, or number of shots below par or any of these, cross sport props. If you have the other sport handicapped correctly, it sets up a solid wager. So those are always interesting.
I like it. Welcome in on the chat box, guys. Schmidt happens. We got Mike Campbell in the house. Sugar Cakes in the house as well. Positive Vibes. Joe Milk. I like your guys' names. Jose Contreras. Welcome in, guys, on the WagerTalk YouTube chat box. Jose saying he was at the Westgate in a very poor showing. Very disappointing on Thursday night, Teddy. You kind of mentioned not too many people being there. Do you think that's Omicron variant related, or is this just kind of the new way of betting and more people are just not going to go to the sports book?
Well, so some of the guys that I see every year down there, the one guy's in Colorado this year taking advantage, the other guy's in Jersey. There are other markets besides Vegas now, legalized, regulated, good markets, et cetera, that are not. And the other factor is there were numbers up earlier in the week. Like I said, people were betting arbitrage. That was the primary thing they were doing on Thursday night. Yeah, there was some opinion, but the primary bet, the bets that were being made was this book opened it at 1.5, Westgate opened it 2.5. Let's get them both down at, they both should be 2, but under one side and over the other side. And that's what the action was. But in terms of that, and again, I talked with Rex Byers, who's one of the key guys down there in the back room. And Rex was saying, the number of bettors was small, but the handle was just fine. We wrote what we're used to writing on Thursday night. So even though there wasn't a packed house, and it was, if you walked in and we're like, oh, wow, this is the big Super Bowl party. And you're like, oh, where is it? Oh, that little line over there in the corner. It wasn't like, again, there are times that the book is packed. This wasn't one of them. It did feel different than 5 years ago. But in terms of the overall handle, The book still took plenty of money. Westgate still took plenty of money on Thursday night. And I want to shout out. I talked with some of this. Spencer. I want to shout out to Spencer, who I met down there, who watches us. Shout out, buddy. It was good to meet you on Thursday.
Shout out to you, Spencer, Joe, in the chat box as well. Will, thanks for joining us, guys. We're up against it time-wise, but any final questions here, feel free to throw them out. But Teddy, any kind of bets you want to throw out there, or kind of final thoughts here getting into Super Bowl before we shut this down?
Yeah, man, I'm going to put my full prop report up. At least we'll see if we add anything onto it. But I'll have my full prop report up. I'm hoping that I get it done tonight into tomorrow morning. It may take me some time tomorrow because it's a substantial endeavor. But we'll have something up for the clients in the next 24 hours. Knock on wood. Worst case scenario, we'll have it up later in the day tomorrow, but I hope to have it up tomorrow morning. And I expect to have in the range of 10, 12 props on my report. And the goal is, again, when I'm betting stuff right off the get-go, that's from my pocket. When I'm looking at what I'm going to give to the clients and what bets I'm going to recommend to the clients, it's got to be numbers that are still available. And the arbitrage stuff is not anything that the clients want to do. Working for these middles. So we're going to be real. The goal is give you lines that you can find that are still positive expectation wagers, and that's what we'll be working on basically from when I get done with the show today until we release it for tomorrow morning. It's a fun 24 hours ahead.
Absolutely, Teddy. It is. We got Super Bowl this upcoming weekend, guys, to kind of finish the football season with the bang. So, Teddy, finish it with this final questions here in the chat box. Teddy, would you correlate the side to who you think the MVP is going to be in a parlay this Sunday? For example, Bengals +4 with Joe Burrow MVP at the plus money. And also Gabriel asking, grateful to catch you guys live. Keep up the good work. Thanks for the props there, Gabriel. He's watching from Calgary and lucky enough to have a ticket on the Rams +750 and Bengals +1,800. Great bet there, Gabriel. Thinking of hedging a bit, I would say, just watch the game and you're going to get a plus price cash on one of those. That's my advice, Teddy. Any final words of advice here on either one of those two questions?
Yeah, what was the first one again?
Would you correlate in a parlay the team you think you're going to win with the MVP?
Yeah, you can't. No book will let you take that parlay.
Oh, really?
I don't think any will. If a book will let you parlay the Bengals money line with Joe Burrow MVP, I do that in a New York minute.
Okay.
But yeah, books won't let. It's a correlated parlay, and it's a book parlay the books recognize as correlated. They won't let you get the bet down on that one. And the second question.
He's got plus futures plus price on both.
Oh
teams.
yeah, he's got
He's
got two plus prices. Yeah, what do you want to hedge for?
Yeah,
I guess if you want to earn the same amount, regardless of who wins, you could probably hedge a little bit there. But you're gonna have to lay a price to do it. Personally, I think it would cost you more than its benefit to hedge in that situation. You got 2 plus price futures, I would hold.
Yeah,
but that's your call. Depends on how much you have down on them. Obviously, if one wager is significantly more than the other, or the return on it is significantly more than the other, you may want to balance it. And I wouldn't argue with that. But it's not anything you don't have to do it that way. You're allowed to have it, to make more if one side wins than the other and still come away with a profit. If you don't want to hedge, it's not anything I'd be doing. You don't have to do it. You can if you want.
Yeah, I say hedging is for gardeners, Teddy. Let it roll. If you got plus price on both sides, enjoy watching the game. And hey, good to have a little action if you win more on one side than the other. Yeah, go ahead, Teddy. Any final words?
And it's not just it's not just a plus. It's not just a plus 150 on one side and a plus 110 on the other. This is a plus 800 on the one side or whatever, and plus 1800 on the one side and plus 750 on the other. It's a nice ROI. So it's a different hedging scenario when you're less than 2 to 1 on both sides versus when you're 18 and 7.5 to 1 for sure.
For sure. Guys, check out Teddy Covers 5% play up at WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com right now with analysis. Got his prop bets coming up as well, as do I, Drew Martin on WagerTalk.com. Guys, if you're liking the content, please smash the like button. Also, feel free to reply below. We'll be in there throughout the week, kind of chopping it up with you guys, seeing what you guys are looking to bet. And we'll be back next Monday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, talking futures market here for the Super Bowl. Teddy, best of luck to you, buddy. Always love doing the show.
Yeah. And listen, guys, have a great big game Sunday. Enjoy the game. Don't bet over your heads. Don't wake up Monday morning and go, oh my God, what the F just happened? Be smart about this. And we'll talk to you guys next Monday. Cheers.
Make sure to have a bankroll on the other side of the Super Bowl, guys. For Teddy Covers, I'm Drew Martin. Best of luck with your bets. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll talk next Monday. Thanks for tuning in.
Fan of Super Bowl props, but not in Las Vegas for the big game? Hosting a Super Bowl party and want to keep everyone entertained? WagerTalk has you covered with our Super Bowl party prop sheet. The concept is simple and is easy for anyone to participate and follow. First, download and print out our Super Bowl 56 party prop sheet. Pass out to everyone at your Super Bowl party and determine the entry fee, if any, and payouts. All they have to do is circle their choices for each prop. And since almost all of them are 50-50, it does not require someone to be a huge football fan or understand sports betting to participate. To get your free Super Bowl party prop sheet, just go to wt.buzz/props and follow us on Twitter at WagerTalk the day of the big game to get results in real time.